Hey everybody, I'm Brian Pengelly. I'm the Youth Ministry Lead here at NBUC, and this is week 4 of our series Squad Up, where we're talking about our affinity groups and how we can build communities that take care of and help each other. All of us at some point completely fail. I don't know about you, but there's been so many times in my life where I'm going along, things seem like I'm okay, and then I just either physically trip and fall when someone has to catch me, or I just say the wrong things, blurt out the wrong words, hurt people, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I messed up that way. What is awesome in life is when you have a community of people around you who love you even when you screw up, but also help you out when you're in those places. When I was a kid, there was a number of times I was super klutzy, and I'd be going along doing something, and all of a sudden I would just trip and fall and do a header into something. And my dad, he was awesome because he would often see it happening and just react. We've got some video, this is not of my childhood, but some great videos from YouTube clips of dads doing epic saves of their kids. Check out these videos, I'll be back in a minute. Isn't that great? I love how sometimes the dads weren't even looking, they just had the sixth sense and they'd be like, whoop, and catch the kids. Well, part of why we're choosing to be in community like this, we're choosing to be in affinity groups, is because sometimes we need other people in our lives that can see when things are going wrong and speak up and help us realize it and pull us back from the brink. The thing is, nobody likes this. Who likes being told that they're doing something wrong? But all of us need voices in our lives that speak concern and say, hey, you might want to rethink this, because all of us screw up at some point in our life. And if no one ever says anything, then we're just going to embarrass ourselves. Have you ever been in a situation where you're out in public and something's wrong and no one tells you about it? Maybe the fly is down on your pants, or you've got like a booger hanging out of your nose, and you've been just going through your day and everyone sees it, but no one wants to say anything about it because they don't want to, it's embarrassing to talk about. So they just let you do that for however long, and you're going through and you don't even realize you've got this booger hanging off of your face. Well, this is why we have communities, because communities speak up and say, hey, I see something wrong. Hey, I'm really concerned about this. You know what? When I was in grade 9, I got into a relationship, and it was not a healthy relationship. The person that I was dating treated me like crap. They treated me as something I was, just to be used and then thrown away. And people at the time kind of saw it, and they spoke up and they said, hey, Brian, I don't think this is very good. And I was just like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know them the way I know them. And I wish I would have listened to them because it actually was a really crappy relationship. Later on in my life, I had good friends around me and they started to see things, and I had people speak up to me and I listened to them, and it stopped me from getting into relationships that would have been really, really harmful. There were other times when I was doing things and what I was saying and doing was hurting other people and I didn't even realize it. Sometimes it was a cultural context that was different. For example, this is a humorous version, but when I was in high school, I went to Mexico on a missions trip and I was working with a bunch of kids there, and languages are my kryptonite. I do not say things very well in other languages. I constantly mispronounce things. I got really bad marks in all of my language classes. But I was working with a group of Mexican children and I was trying to ask them how old they were. And in my very broken Spanish, I kept saying, "Cuánto años tengo tú?" Which I think what I thought was, how many years do you have? But in Spanish, there's a difference between na and ña. It's the N with the little kind of accent over it. And when you ask someone how many years they have or how old they are, you have to say años. It's almost like a Y, años. When I said cuánto años tengo tú, I was saying, how many buttholes do you have? And of course, all of these children were horrified by me asking this question, but I was a guest in their culture and this speaker, and they didn't want to say anything to me, so I just kept saying it over and over again, and nobody told me, until finally afterwards someone was just like, "Brian, you're saying it wrong. Stop doing that." We all need trusted people in our lives who will tell us, "Hey, I don't think you're making wise choices right now." And when they do that, we have a choice. We can be like, "Who do you think you are? You don't know my life. Get out of my business." Or you can be like, "Hey, tell me why you think that. Who are the people that we trust?" Of course, we don't want everybody in the world just telling us what to do. And there's people whose opinions matter to us most. But we need to develop a small group of people who have the right to speak to us and say, "I don't think things are going good right now." So all of us screw up. All of us needs communities that speak truth to us. And also, it's really important that we don't think, if we're doing that to someone else, we don't think we're better than them. Galatians chapter 6, verses 1 to 5 in the Bible talks about this exactly. It says this, "My friends, you are spiritual. So if someone is trapped in sin, you should gently lead that person back to the right path. But watch out and don't be tempted yourself. You obey the law of Christ when you offer each other a helping hand. But if you think you're better than the others when you really aren't, you are wrong. Do your own work well, and then you will have something to be proud of. But don't compare yourself to others." So all of us have this temptation. When we see someone else making a mistake, we can speak up, but if we speak up in a way that's like, "I'm so much better than you," and we look down on the other person for making a mistake, number one, that person isn't going to listen to us, and number two, we actually cause harm to ourselves. We get proud, and that makes it harder for us to see the places where we're screwing up. In a real community, everyone makes mistakes sometimes. We're gracious and forgive each other when we make mistakes, but we also listen and care when other people speak up and call out our mistakes. So, things to discuss in your group this week. Have you ever had someone tell you you were making a mistake? Did you listen to them when they did it? Have you ever tried to warn someone when you saw them making a mistake? Did they listen to you? How can we stay open and listen to people who are warning us when we're making mistakes? Who do you trust in your life to tell you when you're making a mistake? All right, talk about these in your groups. I'll see you next week with our new series, Merry Christmas.